Oops, do I need to go over that all over again?
It couldn't hurt, sorry.
All right, this committee is here to look at the ordinances we have in 125-35, piers, docks, wharf, bridges, and other structures and uses extending over or beyond the normal high water line or within a wetland. We're just gonna go over the ordinances, look at them, and see if there's anything that needs to be tweaked, if it should be tweaked. The reasoning behind it is that people have been, and it's not a habit yet, I don't think, but it's certainly, or a trend, but it's happening where people are dividing their property and breaking down their property into separate units, and so they can get another dock put in. And that's why we're going over. So, and we don't have to, now what? And we just hash it out and we don't have I don't wanna jump in as leader of the thing, but we need a referee maybe to keep us on track.
I nominate Steve.
Oh, see,
I'm here to listen. I think it's an important issue, so.
well, good, your input may be asked for, so, I mean, we might do that. Let's just say nobody's head of this thing, we're all, equal standing, I guess, so I have you. I read over this and, I mean, just A makes me question whether it's even necessary. It says, except in maritime activity districts, no more than one pier, dock, wharf, or bridge shall be allowed per lot. To me, that says the only way you can do that is to make a separate law. And
Yeah.
And then the question came up is, what if they decide to combine that law again? I go back to what it says in A, except in maritime activities districts, no more than one pier, dock, wharf, or bridge shall be allowed per lot. So my thought is which one are you gonna get rid of? Which one are you gonna destroy? But that's my thought. Dave's not in here to ask him, and something that we might ask, if somebody's gonna combine a lot, do they have to go through the planning board?
If they're gonna combine a lot,
Right, if
to
they're
bring
gonna
it back.
bring it back into one. I mean, we know that they can separate it up to a certain point without coming to the planning board. And they combine it without coming to the planning board, and that just leaves it. I mean, the answer in A is still the same, one per pier, one per. There's Dave,
It is. Perfect timing.
perfect time. We know that somebody can divide their property up,
Mhm.
and they can do it without the planning board's approval, without anything, they can do that.
Unless.
To a degree.
To a degree, yes.
Okay, can they combine it to a degree without going through the planning board?
Yes.
So that would be,
So if they had, say, a non-conforming
yeah,
piece contingent to a conforming piece, they could combine the two
Right.
to make one big conforming piece,
right,
or add to the non-conforming piece to make it.
right, or they have two conforming pieces, they wanna combine them.
Yeah.
They don't have to come to us,
No.
that's a
That's
CEO
between
thing,
them and their lawyers, and
and it's a CEO thing, yes?
not even,
Not even that,
no, unless they're creating a subdivision. The town has no,
Right.
other than the guy that sits in that office.
yeah.
When he sends tax bills out.
Processing.
So going with the splitting up and putting in an extra dock, if I did that on my property, which obviously I don't have that property to do that, then I wouldn't have to go through the planning board, wouldn't have to go through the CEO.
No.
But if I wanna put the dock in, I wanna do that,
Then you gotta go, yes,
right? But now I'm 2 years, 3 years down the road, 10 years down the road, whatever. I wanna combine the two pieces of property
back together.
back together again. Now I'm gonna have two docks on one piece of property. But according to A here, you're not supposed to do that, but nobody's gonna be able to police that because we don't know it's even there anymore.
That would be where a site review would come in.
But if they don't, but if they,
Well, and the assessor's records would have,
the assessor would be the only one who has the records.
Right.
Right. Or the planning board from the approval of the
right,
second doc.
you know, 20 years from now,
No,
when you got a whole new board,
Yeah,
who's gonna think to look?
right, I mean,
But
Do you know if the assessor checks for those things?
yeah, well, he gets updated, like, you know, registered from the registry of deeds, so he knows when a lot has been split. Anything like that,
or
and this,
combined.
and this time of year. He spends a lot of time out and about checking on, because every time when he gets these reports from the registry of deeds. He typically will spend a month or so in the spring. Going about and looking at all these places to see if there's been any changes worth noting.
For assessing
For
purposes.
tax purposes,
Right.
yeah, which is what he's doing now. He's spending a few hours every time he's out here going around monitoring these.
In terms of frontage, minimum frontage at this point per lot,
Mhm.
shoreline lots is 150?
What, yeah, 150 for road frontage, 200 for shore frontage.
See, and I don't see that in the,
It's only in the shore.
in the ordinance.
That's only, the 200 feet is only in the shore.
So it's 200 feet
A normal lot,
shore frontage.
I think it's Meadow Pond, if it
Right.
abuts Meadow Pond or abuts the high tide, you have to have at least 200 feet.
But there's not, yeah, but there's nothing in the, in 125-35 that states
No,
anything.
No.
you have to go back and
About
look at
frontage.
Yeah,
the.
those books weren't meant for quick reference.
So it's 200 feet shoreline and 150 feet.
Road. Yeah,
Thank you, I get myself fifty around that every time.
yes, Steve,
Question, the 200, is there a minimum? The 200 shoreline is the minimum, and then any dock can be put on that.
right.
Okay, so,
With
theoretically,
with a lot, which is
We're-
1.5 acres.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
gotta
we
be.
don't wanna say can be because we don't know what the Corps of Engineers is gonna say, we don't know what DEP is gonna say.
A dock approval goes through steps before it even gets to us.
okay,
I have a question for you, because the one thing that threw me is the 150 feet road front,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of pork chop lots.
Yep.
That don't have 150 feet
Right.
of road front. How can that be?
If they were created before 1985,
Then it's okay.
then it's okay. It can be built on without a variance.
It's pretty
Provided that
situation.
provided they still have to meet all the lot line setbacks. But if the only problem is road frontage and say it's an acre and a quarter,
Right,
that would not have to go to the Board of Appeals for variance.
or the grandfather clause.
Right.
we don't use that term.
No
If
grandfathers.
it's
discriminatory.
Oh.
non-conforming, if it's
Grandparents.
non-conforming because of the frontage and lot size, it doesn't need a variance if it was done before 85.
Right.
However, add those two back, if they can't make a boundary setback, then they would have to go for a variance appeal, even though it was created before.
And the only ones that can give them a variance is the
Board of
appeals
Appeals.
board, Bill Board of Appeals.
Go through the variance for me, when you have to get a variance.
If they can't meet setbacks from abutting property lines or
Gotcha,
shorefront,
gotcha.
if they couldn't be 75 feet away from the shore or something like that, or if they couldn't be at least 15 feet away from the neighbors.
So let me give you a what if. So I got my 150, I got my 200 feet of shorefront.
Mhm.
But based on the topography of the shorefront, I can only position my dock 5 feet from the property line, because that's where the deep water is and that's where the access is. That would
Mhm.
require a variance from
Yes,
my neighbor, because it
and I
requires.
suspect it probably wouldn't even make it past DEP at that point.
Okay,
So if that, something like that, they may,
yeah, it's just because some topography, like one of the site visits I did where they were doing a dock, I mean, it was just like radical ledge, which,
Mhm.
but there was really only one good spot to he didn't have any issues with setbacks.
Right.
But if there
If
was a
there was an
property line
issue.
right there,
Right. More, like I say, more than likely, that wouldn't even get past Corps of Engineers and DEP.
Hmm.
They would, because they know the town ordinances.
Gotcha.
And they would say, oh, no, this isn't gonna meet the town ordinances, so. Correct this first, and then call us.
gotcha, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, Dave, I'm just looking at 125-33 under section B. It does say that, in no lot adjacent or not adjacent to tidal area shall have less than 150 feet of frontage on the shore per dwelling unit.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was last time.
Yeah, so it's not 200, it's 150.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
yeah, for some reason I thought it was 200.
Yeah, one
It
fifty
couldn't
feet.
be written any more confusing.
It's 150.
Yeah.
Well, read that again, what were you saying? B, you
It's
said?
125-33 B,
Mel? After the effective date of this chapter,
yeah.
except in the maritime activity districts, each waterfront lot adjacent to Meadow Pond shall have a minimum of 200 feet of shore frontage per dwelling unit and not less than 150 feet of continuous road frontage. on
Okay,
the-
it's Meadow Pond, the way you have to have.
Meadow Pond's 200 feet.
Yeah.
And no lot adjacent or not adjacent to tidal areas.
So I think, yeah, Meadow Pond's a special
Right.
snowflake, because they, even the setback, the normal high tide is 75 feet, at Meadow Pond, it's 100.
Okay, and then if it's served by right of way, no less than 25 feet, which makes sense, because that's a road.
Okay,
And that's per dwelling unit.
Now, so I'm looking at E and it says 200 feet. Each lot established in a maritime activities district
That's
after the effective
maritime.
date of this chapter shall have not less than 200 feet of
That's
shore frontage.
That's a
Yeah.
boatyard.
Yeah, Maritime Activities District is different than shoreline.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Oh, yeah, here it is, 150 feet, yeah.
How to keep us on our toes. This thing's.
okay, I mean, that's
Yeah,
all.
those books have to be guitars.
But we're still trying to consider what's gonna happen if we do nothing. People wanna split up their lots as long as they can, and if they have the frontage and whatnot.
Yeah, I guess we could talk to the harbor, or would it be harbor or you that people,
Harbor
your
master.
complaints? Yeah.
Probably the
harbor
harbor
master.
master,
Yeah.
About complaints about,
because that, it would be under his jurisdiction, because if it's gonna create a navigational issue.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
Right.
that's the stop
That's
gap.
stop-
to everything,
it
right?
is.
Right, because he can come out and say,
Or if it's gonna interfere with somebody's
Right.
lease.
Yeah, they can have everything right in here and still not get their dog.
right,
right,
Right.
so Guilty Harbor, I get so confused, this Dark Harbor area.
Mhm.
Those are all old estates, and probably those piers were put in prior to this.
to the,
So I don't know
yeah,
how many are less than 150 feet, how much congestion there is with all those docks. I think that's the most congested area we have on the island. Does anybody
I
know?
look at Dark Harbor versus some of the places where I've lived and that's not even remotely congested.
Yeah, right.
It is not even close. I
No,
mean,
I mean.
You go down to the vineyard
you
or
could-
Kentucky.
You could walk across Camden Harbor.
You could jump from dock to dock.
Yeah.
Steve,
So, but are we on the track here, or is the track really the concern that someone could split?
Yeah.
A piece of property?
Right.
It's a loophole.
It's a loophole, so
That's
the question becomes,
But can we stop them?
So my perspective, and I'll just give you what I said last time, my perspective is if you've got 600 feet of waterfront and you already have one dock in, and you want to put in a second dock for whatever reason, and you've got the 150 feet of waterfront, you've got 600 feet, you got 150, so you technically could easily put in another dock. And my point is who are we to say that you can't
Right.
put in a second dock?
well,
If the harbor master, the environmental people, everybody else says not an issue. Who are we to write an ordinance that says you can't have a second dock?
And I think that's absolutely a fair point. The question maybe also to ask and table this till you get an answer, but what does the community want? You know, the fact that someone is extremely wealthy and can split 2 or 3 or 4 times, is that what the town of Islesboro and everybody who lives here and the majority of people who want to have a certain lifestyle, is that something they want or not? That's kind of like what I approach from a select board position is, what is the community asking us to do? Not what I think we should do. So it might be a perspective to survey to some degree, you know, people's opinion on that, and then, you know, come back and, anyway, that's another idea.
Right. And we can look at different options, because Camden in their ordinance allows for a second pier. If the lot has twice the minimum shore frontage. And a second structure may be allowed and may remain as long as the lot is not further divided. So that's just
Yeah.
protection. I don't know. I don't know if just getting ourselves all twisted up.
Well, as I say, the only reason I brought it to your attention is,
Yeah.
as I say,
We saw it. happen.
I saw the potential of this being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And is the ordinance that you have now
Sufficient.
sufficient, or does it need to be tweaked a little bit to maybe
And
address
we
some?
may see an evolution of change as the next generation start inheriting these large estates. And that could be just people who just want to keep their own, well, except we do know people who want multiple docks, so.
Yep. Well, mine island is actually part of Islesboro, correct?
Yes.
Don't they have more than one dock out there? They got 2 docks, don't they?
Mhm. And these are theirs from what I
They
hear.
got one on one side, one on the other, if I remember right.
And they probably predate the ordinances.
I'm sorry?
Then more than likely they
Oh,
predate the ordinances, so.
I mean, I think there's definitely an argument to have the ordinance modified to some extent anyway, because we still have issues with, 100-year storms and high water mark and sea level rise, so whatever, I mean, the Army Corps of Engineers and the guys that do all the design work are gonna, I'm sure, accommodate that kind of a thing, but our ordinance probably should have something in the language about that.
Like what we can regulate, how high it needs to be, or
Exactly.
what the base
Well,
is.
at least recommendations, because DNR does have information they need for a complete project, and they give construction standards. Their guidelines and recommendations, and whether or not we wanna put those in our ordinance as
And that's
more
the
than
Camden
guidelines.
document.
No,
you're talking about?
Department of Marine Resources.
Does Islesboro specify that all docks and piers have to be on granite?
No,
No.
no.
Is this-
Our dock and pier ordinance is like, what, a paragraph?
Very short.
But we
Basically,
don't
you gotta have enough land.
specify that it has to be on granite slabs, it doesn't have, I mean, steel.
Well, we don't have to because the DEP is regulating. They're telling these folks what they have to construct.
DEP tells them that.
Yes,
Right. Well, there's some pretty, there's pretty interesting.
there are materials that they have to, material standards.
Cause I know this one probably predates it too, but
Yeah.
the people like Caretake Corps have 6x6 pressure treated as a base.
Yeah.
Baskets filled with rocks.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the old.
And and they still will allow stuff like that if it's feasible. It's just the pressure treated has to be of a certain grade. It
Yeah,
has to sit outside in weather
Yeah.
for a certain amount of time before they can actually
Yeah.
use it. Yeah.
but that's nothing we regulate.
No,
That's totally,
no.
And I think it
The
also.
Construction standards fall under the DEP.
yeah.
Right, and I think also, and I think the DEP will make a recommendation on different materials based on the exposure that the dock has
Yeah.
to, storms, southwest breeze or prevailing winds, I mean, all that stuff, because I know that in Seal Harbor, they prefer steel. versus in Gribble Point area or in a more sheltered cove, you can do granite blocks or you can do whatever, you know, you do the timber posts, things like that. It's just, I think the engineers will tell you which is the appropriate standard. So I don't think that's something that we should get into.
No, I didn't either, but I was just asking the question to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
basically, you know, outfits like Gartland, Dorsey and.
Yeah.
you know,
Croc.
They design these things. And they send all their designs to the Corps of Engineers, DEP. And that's where the first review happens.
Right,
Corps of Engineers looks at it first. Okay, yeah, this is feasible, this is doable. DEP looks at it, yes, this is doable, but let's look at the area and see what we can use for materials and,
yeah.
okay, we're okay with this.
Which brings me back to your statement about possibly making a change to the ordinance there. If it's out of our control, why is it something we need to change in an ordinance?
I mean, the only thing that we could possibly do is maybe make a height requirement. Based on historical,
Mhm.
you know, because a lot of the guys that rebuilt. This over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
The docks that got knocked
Right.
down,
They gotta lift.
they raised them up like 10 feet.
Right,
My neighbor- That's exactly what my neighbor.
and isn't that what was, I seem to remember at, Seal Harbor, the town wanting Mosley Dock go a little refurbished.
It's gotta go higher.
Yeah, it's gonna be higher.
Mhm, mhm. Um,
I don't think they actually made it a standard yet. The Corps of Engineers or the DEPs, they didn't make that an actual
yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
rule. It has to be a certain height. You know, we can be. The town can be more restrictive, we just can't be
Or leave.
more lenient.
right, I understand that. I understand.
Can I raise my hand?
Who's rep? Josh?
A guy that
Yes,
knows-
Josh.
Go ahead.
So the DEP changed the regulation about changing pier heights and seawall heights after the storm, and they allowed us to go up, increase heights by 4 feet from whatever the original height was. So like that's what we did. So like Colcord Dock down there, when we raised that 4 feet. But that's sort of the standard that people went up. And it's true, like everything goes to the DEP and it's usually engineered, and
Yeah,
you just engineer the pier for the site pretty much, you know, like if you want granite, there's more of an environmental impact really because it's square footage impact on the inner title is how the DEP figures it. So like if you want lower impact, you can drive a steel I-beam if you
Yeah.
can drive it. That has the smallest footprint, whereas a 2x2 by 12-foot piece of granite, if you have two of those sitting on the bottom for each stack, that's more environmental impact to the DEP. So it comes down to environmental impact and justifying what you want to build for the site. And granite's the strongest way to build it. But the DEP does sort of oversee it all, if that makes sense.
it does.
But there's like a 500 square foot of footprint that you have to stay under before you pay it's not restitution, reparations or something like that, where you have to pay extra pay to play,
So
basically.
if you put in too many piers, or you wanna put in too many, it adds up and your square footage is over 500, then you have to deal with it.
Exactly. And they take into account the square footage of the float, different things like that too. It's all about how much you're shading on the mud flats and everything. So that's my 2 cents in it.
All right, appreciate it.
I also recommend everyone should have 2 piers on their piece of property.
And
I mean, what if one breaks down?
they should call you to, no,
Oh yeah.
Amen.
All righty. Good luck, guys.
Thanks.
Hey, Josh.
So Steve, do you have any other comments?
No, I wanted to I wanted to hear what you guys were thinking, and my only comment was, it'll become a community issue when it comes to light that.
Sure, every dock that goes in becomes, oh, I don't want it in that harbor.
And that's fine, but when someone finds a loophole to what we all agree kind of is a standard. You know, you need a dock, you can put a dock in it that meets all the standards. If somebody then does something where I think is playing the game, then I think it's time for us to make pay attention to it, try to determine if it's acceptable or not by the community, and if it's not, change the regulation. People like, it's no big deal. Okay, how many people are gonna do that? 3 on the island, 5? All right, well then let it. But I just wanted to express, I think it's a fairly important issue that I think we should address to the community, and I appreciate your guys picking it up and doing it.
So in terms, I think, are we talking moratorium? We could just have this I don't know what other.
I'm not ready to call a moratorium right now, I mean, as a personal.
No, I mean, that was the option was.
Yeah, that's one of your options.
Steve, how do you just from an outsider looking in at this point, how do you go about canvassing the community? I mean, is that,
Yeah,
I mean, how do you do that? I mean, it's
Well-
like, cause you're, unfortunately, you can't, I don't believe you can say only people that have shorefront property. Because that's, I mean, who is it to have somebody that's got a lot
No,
inland that
you-
has no shorefront
you guys have
whatsoever that
to have a
says
general
that
survey
weighs in on
every-
docks?
Right. I mean,
How do you do that?
well, Gary's group does, kind of like constant contact, surveys you can do. You
Okay.
can, I think that's the most legitimate way. And then it's, everybody, including us on the select board, word of mouth, asking people, and then we get a consensus off a survey and stuff and say, this is our findings. Based on that, we're gonna take action. If you don't agree with this findings, let us know when you kind of get a consensus, but it's not an easy.
And it's worth drafting a survey that hopefully catches if the person's inland or if they own shorefront, if they have a dock. And I read one report where they said, ironically, the people who didn't want whatever this was increased docks were the ones who owned the docks, it appears. So
Yeah,
to see, look at the bias there too, as to what's going on within the community.
no, I think it's a important issue, and I think you guys, that's why I came. I haven't been to one of these
Yeah.
meetings ever. Just wanted to say thank you. I'm glad it's on you.
So.
Well, if we did go toward, not that we've decided this,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
we do go toward a moratorium, then it has to go before the select board.
Yeah, select board would be the one I have to approve it.
They have to approve it, so.
Well, so maybe doing this survey first.
Can I ask you a question? Cause you referenced the Camden ordinance. I know they put out a moratorium on it, which I have a copy of, but have they?
Well, that's what I'm not sure. This is, I think, the 20 most.
'Cause I think
Who
this must be-
knows what their most recent.
Is that the stuff that Dave gave us last time?
No, this is Dave gave us the moratorium.
And what is the date on
Ordinance.
it? Is it
There is
short?
no date on
And
it.
he said that one of them didn't fly, or Lincolnville
Yeah, the
didn't
one, the
fly.
one Lincolnville proposed didn't,
But
didn't fly,
Camden
didn't
did,
fly.
so I think it was 2020 that.
This was 2022, the Lincolnville one, but the Camden one,
and I know the Camden one, they did enact a moratorium and it's been extended at least once.
Oh, so they haven't, so this is the current one, it hasn't been changed yet. So they do have, like, you can have 2 piers on a lot.
so that might be worth reviewing.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that, cause I think
Okay.
that's, if there's a way to put a little more teeth into it, so it's,
mhm.
But Steve made a very good point. It's pain in the butt, I know, especially on you, but
The survey?
doing a survey out to the general. It doesn't matter whether you're shoreland property or a rural property owner or anything
Right.
else, everybody should. have
everybody gets a chance to weigh in.
But
Yeah.
something that, and that could be a question on the survey, are you a shore?
Yeah, shorefront property.
Yeah, shorefront
Do you own a dock?
Do you already own a dock?
Right.
Would you like to own a dog?
Yeah.
They want more public
Did
access.
you put 2 docks on your property?
Right.
If you could. Why would I do that? It's
I- One thing, like I've been trying to make sure everybody understands in this whole thing is, even if they cross their I's and dot their T's on the whole thing and everything matches up in the ordinance, doesn't mean they're gonna get their dog.
Right.
Right, It doesn't.
No, we're just providing guidance. and what-
Ours is the first step, the very first.
I think the first step is DEP. We don't even see it until it comes from DEP.
True,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true, right?
I start getting email notices as soon as they submit a permit
Right,
application.
But I think the guidance here, right, for general,
Yeah.
resident
Yeah.
is, do I have enough land? Can I put a dock in?
Right.
Yes, I can. Do I want to? Do I have the financial capability? Yes, I do. Okay, next step,
Yeah,
design, DEP, right? And so before it even, but this is the initial guidance.
yeah, yeah.
So to me, if we can,
And DEP, according to Dave, knows what the town ordinances say
right,
about it. So-
right. So maybe we can learn something from the existing Camden ordinance that
Maybe.
puts a little more guideline
So-
behind it, so you can't just stack 4 docks and.
So we table this meeting to the next one. And, we'll look over the Camden, make notes, what have you. And were you planning on putting together a questionnaire for survey or?
We can work on it, yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
I've
Because
never,
I have this other,
I usually don't do surveys, but I'll,
yeah, I think it was this environmental aesthetic impact of small docks and piers that NOAA did back in 2003. And I think they may have done surveys or something. But just trying to figure out how to do this, writing up a good survey is not easy.
Well, they have to be very brief, right? Because
Well, you
and
also-
30 questions and it's,
exactly, that's why I don't do them.
yeah. I mean, the Survey Monkey ones, which are the ones that are, I think, most successful, are like 10 questions max.
Mhm.
And you just have to make sure that your questions are crafted in a manner that makes for clearly understand what the question is and, and give them, if you can give it multiple choice with options, then even better. Yes, no. Or, guidelines.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was just wanted to ask, the subdivisions, what is the minimum lot size for a dock on a subdivision?
I have looked that one up.
Yeah,
Would it still be one fifty?
It would still be.
yeah, I would think it
Still
would
have
be.
the same standards, yeah.
And now you couldn't, so technically. It's not a subdivision unless it's more than 3 lots, right?
Right.
Ah, okay. There's the loop.
Right,
There's the loop. So
Or,
it's not a subdivision if you peel off.
or if it's a family division. If you're just splitting up between family
that was
members.
interesting that you
Yeah.
pointed that out. Where is that? Is that under subdivisions or?
That's on the main sub neighbors.
How you memorize this?
Well, we've had a lot of questions in them over the past couple of years. I've had to do a
That's
little
the
extra
thing, yeah, with the
reading.
families, so with families, we can't, is that another loophole?
Yeah.
I think somebody suggested at the last planning board meeting that if you do present this to the town to vote on a moratorium, there has to be some kind of objective in mind, like,
Right.
what's the reason for
Right.
this
Why are we
moratorium?
asking?
Controlling waterfront development.
Like,
I mean, I
Yeah,
guess.
are we concerned about overdevelopment? Are we concerned about the environment and our shores? That kind of thing. So
And I think that
That's-
has to be the statement that
that's what you
kind
guys
of
need to determine.
is the precursor to the actual survey, right? Why are we putting a survey out? And it's a paragraph that says we are concerned about. Blah, 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 blah.
but I think what Carrie says, they also have to have that reason for taking to the moratorium, too, is like.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to have that for the select board, because they're the select board's
Right.
the one vote on it, right?
And. I'll look over Camden again. Try to
Did you pull that one
study
off?
it.
Because I don't think we got copies of the Camden ordinance, we got the
I
moratorium.
just
but not the-
copied it off.
I got Camden moratorium ordinance.
Yeah, but she's got their actual ordinance.
Oh, she does.
Current ordinance, so we don't know what they're trying to change over there.
I wonder if that's an easy call to somebody at the town in Camden. Who would you call that would be
I've started with the clerk,
planning?
yeah, find out who the planning board chair is and
Talk to them. Find out.
see what they're trying to do.
Now, protocol, it doesn't have to be chair to chair, it can be. Good.
What about, did you look into Northport at all?
I did not, because I don't see a lot of.
It's not, that's a tough, Northport's tough. I mean, anybody
I
that
don't
puts a
see a lot
dog in
of
at Northport's
activity there because.
better have some good insurance.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Why is it-
Most of the
So
shoreline-
exposed. I mean, Northport's got super exposure.
Oh, for like storms and stuff?
Yeah, most of the shoreline is.
It's brutal. I mean, it's, yeah. When I take my boat to Belfast, I cruise down along there and it's just like,
There aren't many dogs.
there's no dog. There's maybe 4 between Lincolnville and Belfast. It's not a lot.
Well, is that the same like our eastern side of our?
Same, yeah, it's because it's northeast storms will wipe it out.
Yeah.
Plus they're exposed to southwest breeze, which is what we get in the summertime, so it comes right down Penobscot
If you
Bay.
remember right, a few years ago, you guys approved a dock for, it was on the east side.
On Charlotte Cove.
No, it was, down further. What's her name? Winters, David Winters. Way down, and,
Is it gone?
well, no, basically, they wanted to get approval for a dock because they thought they were selling the house and they thought it would make it more attractive.
Oh, to have the
Well, they sold the house before they got the dock though. But it was still all permitted, everything else, and the people that bought the house were looking at it, and I pointed that out, I said, this has been permitted for a pier, and they look, it's a horrid place for a pier. So that one probably won't ever get built.
No, that's, and then your engineering has gotta be amazing, because that whole eastern shore, unless you're, Ryder Cove or in some of the protected coves. That whole,
So
just
it's
look at the
really
map
like
right there,
a-
that's like, just,
Yeah, the
full
protected
exposure.
coves and-
and it's, yeah,
So you wanna over-engineer that one?
big time, big time. But that's what the Army Corps of Engineers will do, that's what they're gonna do.
They'll look at that and
If
say,
you get a permit, I mean, but it won't be a $250,000 dock, it'll be $1 million.
right,
Then you probably get fined on top of that because your footings are gonna have to be huge, so they'll be way beyond the 500 square feet.
to withstand the pressure.
Yeah, the wave action is gonna be. The force on the dock alone, the float is amazing, and what that transfers back to the pile, to that outer pylon
Yeah,
is huge. Not to mention the anchors for the float themselves.
mhm.
I wouldn't do it. That's crazy. I mean, plus it's gonna be wet all the time anyway. You wear your foul weather gear down to your float
Right,
because the waves will be breaking over it every day. Yeah,
Well, I guess we could look into Camden, what their issues are, but they're so congested, but we
Well,
know
that's-
that's an area that's congested and Will Isles for a base that we don't know.
yeah, I mean,
And, those are the kind of issues,
You're-
the.
you're
splitting
getting
of
a little
property.
bit of that, like when you go over to where the one we just passed the permits on.
Mhm.
Right, if you get into that area around the Tarantine Club, and there's quite a few old estates that are in there, they all have docks. And it's a very kind of windy coastline, so there's little coves and whatnot. But again, if the harbor master goes in there and says, no, it's gonna be a restriction on navigation or anchorage or whatever. You can't have a dock, so there's stop gaps. But I could see where, in a very tight restricted area like that, still not as bad as Camden though, which is,
Well, I'm still Guilford Harbor and
Yeah.
I still have those big estates I don't know if there are multiple piers on my property over there.
not that I know of, except for the one we just permitted for.
Yeah.
so going back to what Carrie said, what would be our reasoning for this moratorium? Let's stop everything, that's what a moratorium does, right?
Yep.
Is it because we're worried about congestion, or are we doing it because we think things need to be tighter? And is that a good excuse?
I don't think the tighter is a good excuse. I think
The
congestion
the ordinance that you've got is
fairly loose.
fairly loose, it's. I don't know how many years old. I think the last time that was revised was. Probably at least 20 years ago.
That particular
Yeah.
ordinance.
So,
I mean, there's certainly a reason to update the ordinance as it stands today, based on the higher
Okay,
sea level
But
rise.
does that necessitate a stall? Does that
No, not necessarily.
necessitate,
Moratorium.
yeah,
No, but if you combine that with concern about congestion in certain areas, then it may soften the, it may soften the impact to residents. For those that would say, some people will say, why are you restricting?
and would the survey maybe tell us some of this stuff, because, if we say something about congestion, are we just blowing smoke to make a smoke screen, or are we really concerned about,
What we need to think through, is it congestion, or would we want to say, Dave's concerned, people are splitting off to get a second dock? If we
okay,
allow a second dock
I-
on lots that are large enough with adequate, then we not do what Camden does and say they can't
if it's adequate,
break it.
like if we require 200 feet of shorefront, if they've got 400, they can have a second dock, according to Camden, is that what I'm
They're
hearing?
not- As long as the lot is not further divided.
And it doesn't have to be divided up.
Yeah,
That's,
so that way.
So if I got 600 feet, I could have 3 docks.
well, I think it's 150.
No, I
Yeah.
think they're saying just one structure. Oh, well, we'd have to discuss.
So if it's 150 feet, which I think is our ordinance, right?
Yeah.
It's 150 feet. You
I
could
said
have-
200, but
You
you
could
have
have
to
3
divide.
docks on 450 feet.
Yeah, they're saying that just, twice the minimum shore frontage, you can have a second structure. They don't say you can have a third if you have 3 tons, so. It's another question that would come
Yeah,
up
guys,
if we.
If you own 15 acres, and they're all waterfront.
Yeah.
You could have as many documents.
Well, I just looked at
That's
the one I caretake for, they got 650 feet of shorefront.
Yeah.
And if at 150 feet per, you
4
got,
docks at least,
Yeah.
with room to spare.
That would be dependent on how you word your ordinance change.
But then, because then, I mean, if I'm thinking about, if I was a. if I
not that
was
they
a
would
person-
do that.
No, but if I owned that land and I
Right.
said, okay, I've got enough frontage and I could put 4 docks in. And I'm thinking down the road, I'm gonna subdivide,
Right,
right? I don't have to say that. I don't have to say it up front,
no,
but if I put 4 docks in. And then I say, okay, I'm gonna subdivide.
yeah,
The value of those subdivisions just went through the roof.
because they have
I've
it
got
all,
docks. Right?
provided when you divide, you've got enough land to make legal lots out of it.
right,
Right, yeah, I mean, if you got enough, if you've got that
in
kind
a
of
perfect
waterfront.
world,
In a perfect world, if you could carve it off and sell it. But then who benefits from that? Certainly the person that's selling the property, but also the town, because the assessed value of the property goes. And there's your tax base. I mean, so it's a double-edged sword when you go down this road, because you're people building $1 million dock
yeah,
adds a lot of value to a property now. And that's gonna be assessed.
right, but if you can't put a well on that lot, what's that dock gonna do?
Well, that's a different story altogether, but yeah. But you can drill a well anywhere, but you don't have to get a permit for wells. right?
True, but if you can't get one, what if you can't get to a perk, well, now you're
No,
going,
yeah.
you can't do a perk, so that limits you to,
Yeah, you would be, in my opinion, it'd be silly to build docks if you didn't know that you
Yeah, you
had
could-
adequate water and have adequate, septic.
right, what potential of putting a house on.
Yeah, I mean, I think most developers, most people that are smart enough to realize that you don't start spending money unless you know you can get it back, right?
Yeah, I'm serious, I'm with you.
So it's,
Would the harbor master have any input about this kind of thing? I mean,
sure,
Oh, yeah,
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 absolutely.
you should definitely
Yeah,
invite
Earl,
one of them
yeah.
to one of these rural
Yeah.
sessions.
Well, this is what the big question on, for Dylan, since he's the assistant harbor master, which I don't know was, if it was ever clarified, was whether or not he could have any conversation as the assistant harbor master. Does he have to recuse himself from the fact
He can
that-
have all the conversation he wants, might not be able to vote on it.
Right, right.
But he can certainly have input.
But I think, you know,
so we invite them for the next
yeah,
show.
or Earl, yeah, I mean, either one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
either one of them.
I mean, Earl would be, I think, good,
Just a
yeah.
question, Ted Pendleton's dock,
Mhm.
is that considered temporary or,
So the one in Mill Creek,
yeah?
That was, he got that by permit by rule.
By what?
Because of the
Permit by-
impact to the,
permit by, what is that?
That's a DEP
yeah,
permit that
impact
pretty
to the
much,
soils,
yeah, it's very, very minimal impact.
It's just floats,
Yeah.
right? It's not,
Yeah.
he's got anchors for it, but he just,
Yeah.
it's not, he didn't drive
It's
pylons.
not it's not permanent.
Yeah.
He can take it in and out.
so that's not a common feature we
Right,
have,
right.
yeah.
Most everyone that wants to build one wants it
Right.
there.
Yeah. They tow the, dock portion off to some.
Oh, that's it,
unfortunate
that's-
area.
that's interesting you say that, because that is, when you talk about congestion, that is a concern.
Yeah,
Because
that-
when you look at the coves, the only coves that you can put these docks in are like Riders Cove way up in. Off
You're
the,
talking for storage?
Yeah.
winter storage, or right at the Narrows, right? You see how many docks were in the Narrows this summer, this winter? There was at least 12,
Oh, really?
maybe 15, all around that little walk point. So, I mean, no, they all have to go somewhere.
Right.
The impact to the shoreline. But I don't
And it's
think-
usually on somebody else's property, not yours.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think that,
It's usually
I
on
think that
public
PYY and Hillsborough Marine, those guys get permission, I believe, to store the docks where they store them, but a lot of them are right, they're like against, I think, the Island Institute property. Cause that's where the walkways are, that was all donated land, even the one in Riders Cove where they tied to the trees. That's way up Riders Cove, that's where the, by
Oh, you
Derby,
mean
the walk trails
The
by
Island
Derby.
Yeah.
Trust.
Island Trust, sorry, what did I
Yeah.
say?
It's-
I mean, I'm Island Trust, sorry,
Yeah.
I'll get them right one of these days.
There's too many acronyms.
Yeah, there are. IIT, ISC, INN, INM.
Yeah, but I don't know if we can regulate that type of activity. It's again in the ocean.
What?
I don't know.
I mean, does that, I mean, I think that plays into the congestion and where you're gonna put these things.
Every dock that's added has to go somewhere,
Yeah,
and they have to be
the
sheltered.
seasonal components of it have to be stored somewhere.
Right.
And it has to be sheltered, so.
The
there's
pier
very-
stays there.
Yep.
But the ramp and. the
Ramp.
Ramp
gotta go
goes,
someplace.
the ramp goes either on the float or some designs, they go up onto the dock itself, so they pivot it up and slide
And
up.
that may be something that might be needed in the ordinance. When you apply for your dock permit through the town. Where are you
Where
gonna
is it gonna
store,
be
where
stored?
are you gonna store the
Yeah,
seasonal components? Where are those going?
Yeah,
that might be an
Are you
interesting.
storing them on your own land, or are you storing them on somebody else's land? Do you have permission to store them on somebody else's
Right.
land? Well, you know,
those are good questions.
yeah,
Does Josh just build, or does he maintain and
He
store? all
maintains a
stuff?
lot of them.
He does,
Yeah.
so he's storing them.
Yeah, he's storing them
Be a
somewhere.
great question for him.
Dark Harbor, Dark Harbor Boatyard stores some.
Yeah.
I don't know where they do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
PYY.
Some people
PYY
actually,
stores
PYY,
them.
they,
Amy stores them.
a lot of people down in like south, my old stomping grounds, they actually remove and with cranes, they remove and they literally stack them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in parking lots, yeah.
Do you need to know who iPhone is?
Yeah.
Good question.
Whose iPhone?
A person who just joined by Zoom, can we get your name? Some people like to be anonymous.
Well, currently, Mr. iPhone,
If
his
you
iPhone.
don't have any further questions for me, I'm gonna.
Oh, we do, they'll come later. We
Yeah,
can-
exactly.
Just make sure you're on the camera before you leave.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
So
Oh, and somebody remember to close the door when you go out.
Yeah.
we're still looking for who's on iPhone up there, who just joined the Zoom meeting here. Because just for our records, we'd like to know who you are. If you'd like to share that with us, take yourself off mute and let us know. Or perhaps there's a way you can type it in. I don't know that one either.
Yep, in the chat. I just sent a chat message.
Since we are looking at tabling and having another meeting, when should that next meeting be? This one went over what I thought it was going to, but we accomplished more than I thought we were going to too, so.
I know we have can I ask a question? I know we have,
Let's ask a
I
question.
just wanna, I know we have a lot of, I would love to hear individual opinions of just, I mean, I know we have to do some more research. Do you
Yes.
guys, do you believe that there needs to be some additional tightening of this ordinance, just so we're in this group, that if we're in agreement?
Right, yeah, I think at least look at it, see, compare it to other ordinances and how, if we are blacks, and it does seem weak, but maybe they are all because they all depend on DEP and DMR
Yeah.
to review.
I mean, just as, and even not as a board, right, as even or an ad hoc committee, I mean, it's like as residents of the island, do you guys feel that your own personal opinions, do you feel that docks are an issue on the island? I'm just curious.
In my personal opinion, no, I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm just
Hi,
curious.
all. I've been trying to break in and my phone wasn't able to do it, but this is Lauren Bruce, just
Hey,
listening in for
Lauren.
a few minutes. Hello there.
Thank you.
So your iPhone.
I'm iPhone and I tried desperately to turn on my, turn off the mute and it wasn't working. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
Thanks.
Nosy.
Yeah.
That's why they made it public, right?
Uh-huh. She's just wanted to make sure that's where I was.
Oh, come on now. So,
Well,
yes,
it seems like, sometimes when the planning board is reviewing a dock application, there are neighbors who complain
yes, there are.
because it infringes upon their view, or it might infringe. upon
Right.
their view. Or they're concerned about the environmental impact in a particular
Correct.
area. So, that's just one reason that maybe our ordinances need to be tweaked a little bit.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I can understand if somebody was gonna have, multiple docks. I think the hard part though and just to be, devil's advocate is that if you don't have a dock and you have the wherewithal to put one in and you wanna put one in and your neighbor complains about the interruption of a view, to me, that's.
But there could be sound issues too, having motor boats and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's island life, right? I mean, it's.
I think you'll find, and I can't remember exactly where it is, but that's some of the considerations we're supposed to take in.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know how you put that. into an
Doesn't
ordinance.
necessarily,
You put sound levels and decibels, and I mean, I hear
we
I hear the ramp at the ferry dock every day.
yeah, right. And it's like living next to a railroad station or a plane
An
airport.
airport, right?
Is like, you get used to it. I got guineas and geese running around all over my property. I hardly ever
I
hear
hear
them.
them, by the way.
I'm sure you do. No, but I hardly pay attention to them.
Yeah.
And they certainly don't wake me up in the morning. But I'm used to them.
This
amazing.
This is tough, cause
It is.
I think tightening of the ordinance is needed to some extent. I do agree with that.
Who do we need to listen to? We need to listen to the theoretically a survey.
Yeah.
right? So we're gonna listen to the public. We should get somebody from Harbor
Yeah.
Master to weigh in.
Yeah. And I wanted to, I think we should definitely, somebody should speak to Camden to find out. I mean, I have a feeling Camden's pretty simple. It's congestion.
Yeah,
But I think it would be good to understand.
but that's
why.
also it's also a condition we're considering. So congestion might be something to look at.
Yeah,
But I know that we had some pushback with some people, like Carrie said, we had some pushback with some docks that go in. Why do they need that? They might not need it, they might want it, but if it's not a protected cove, it's not this, it's not that, it's not interfering with,
navigation.
yeah,
Yeah, as long as they have the right, been given the right to the state-owned land,
yeah.
if they don't own.
But again, where are they storing all the parts? Cause that does play
To
into
me,
it.
that's one thing that DEP doesn't weigh in on.
No, they don't.
Nobody weighs in on that, and
No.
that's, I seem to recall reading an article or hearing something about that within the last 5 years,
Yeah,
where people were concerned about lost season dock storage. I don't know if anybody else recalls that, but I thought there was something that was happening on island about that.
so I guess that would be a matter of calling different boatyards and find out where they store them. And do they have room to store more?
Well, another issue is whether or not these docks are ending up requiring more, what they call armoring of the shoreline. They're putting riprap and whatever, because things starts to erode and then that causes erosion
Right.
to the neighbor. And just looking into that issue, because of these storms, we're probably getting definitely more erosion.
Riprap doesn't even come to us.
No, and it's interesting too, because I asked that question about riprap. This opens up a whole nother can of worms, because I asked the question about, do you need to have you have to have a permit to do riprap, but once you have the permit to put riprap in, you can clear cut. I did not know that. The restriction of cutting trees within 100 feet of the shoreline,
Yeah,
gone.
when you're putting in riprap.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
Huh,
that Dave told me that one.
yeah,
It changes everything because you're developing the shoreline, so gives you a much greater,
so you could have lawn right up to the riprap now.
a lot of people do.
I know.
Who approves that?
I think that riprap has to be designed by the Army Corps of Engineers and it has to go through, but I don't know.
But it doesn't come to us, it goes to
Riprap, it
Dave,
goes to Dave, yeah,
or whoever the CEO is.
right. Which is,
Dave right now.
yeah, no, but it's interesting that doesn't come before the planning board. But, you know, where you go down, you look at a site and say, oh yeah, okay, well, it's eroding, yeah, it makes sense, you need to have some riprap.
Yeah.
Boatyards. Storage.
Cause I mean, that definitely plays into it. If it's, hey, I'm booked up. Every slot I got is filled up with, I can't take any
I
more.
know they're looking for more. I know they are. They're always.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
Of course they are. But
And then you get into the other part too, which is, I know Earl is a big thing for Earl and a big thing for us and it being in Broad Cove, Gilchrist Harbor. Is not necessarily the floats that are on docks, but the floats that are used for either swimming or for fishermen. Because there are desolate docks that are broken down and falling apart, and that creates a major navigational hazard.
sure,
Pieces fall and drift. I mean, you get the big blue styrofoam blocks, those wash up all over. Those come from docks,
yeah, they do,
from floats.
sure.
So the whole inspection process, right? Regular inspection, regular upkeep. If you don't do that,
Yeah,
then now all of a sudden your float, not necessarily the dock, but your float can become a navigational hazard.
see, I don't know how it works. I'll have to ask them. But I know that the people I caretake for use Dark Harbor Boatyard to do their docks.
Yep.
And whether they're on contract and maintain them as well, or just put them in, take them out? I don't know.
I think probably what they, I mean, Alsbro Marine does the same thing, and my knowledge of that is that, you know, when they maintain or they build one, they put it in, they take it out, they inspect it.
Yeah,
Every spring, every fall, they inspect, and they go back to the owner and say, hey, you know, you need to do this, this, or this, and then it's up to the owner to say, okay, go ahead.
right.
Put it off a year, put it off 2 years. Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
wonder if the stuff we see in the shoreline also is from getting damaged.
It is, oh, it is, for sure. It is.
But
A
is
lot
it-
of it's from most,
But you gotta also, I think anyways, that everything we're seeing on the shoreline isn't necessarily from Islesboro.
no, it's not, it's not, it's not. It's not, stuff floats around all over the place, so. But Gilpey's Harbor.
We're having a hard time getting out of here, aren't we?
There's stuff in Gilpey's Harbor, sorry, yeah, I'm long-winded like this. Stuff in Gilpey's Harbor though is, a lot of it is from derelict floats.
Right,
Not floats that are attached to docks, but floats.
Yeah.
And I know Earl's got a problem with that, because he's trying to enforce repair or removal.
sure,
So-
well, he would be
Have
one
that
to,
under his ordinance?
he would be one to drag in here for a meeting if he would come.
Yeah, he'll come. He'll come.
Hmm.
So
Um,
what shall we do? Shall we set a separate, earlier time frame? Should we set a different day?
I'm okay with this, I mean, this was to be a planning.
This was to be a planning board
It
meeting,
wasn't
but we
anything, so-
have overrun what I
Yeah.
originally thought we were gonna be doing. But again, we've covered more ground than I originally thought we were gonna cover.
Yeah, if you can keep it to a half an hour, you can try again.
Let's do
in
it
2 weeks.
Yeah, let's do it before the next planning board. We'll keep it to half an hour. Let's do some homework on the things that we want to do.
Okay, but we're gonna have to do timekeeper and call it no matter what.
I won't be there here.
That's
on the
fine.
15th.
You say you won't be here.
When is the next? The
2
six-
weeks, on the 15th.
I can
15th?
make copies of what I have and put them in boxes.
The Camden ordinance, because I'll call the Camden planning
Yeah,
Yeah,
chair.
that would be great.
I'll call him,
I'll call around the boatyards and see what about,
and I can talk to Earl also. See if he's got a perspective on this, or if he wants to sit with us. I mean, he probably would be a good one to have come in and sit at the next meeting,
who's that, Earl?
Earl.
I would think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, and get his input, which he'll have input.
yep. Does someone want to take?
And so I'm calling boatyards about storage of docks and capacities and,
Yeah, just congestion restrictions, how do they go about deciding where they go? Are they running out of space?
yeah,
You know, I think that's a bigger issue than anything, quite honestly.
Mhm. I think the storage of them too, I mean, just
Yeah.
really thinking of how it can hurt to the shoreline, just, you know.
Nobody thinks about that.
Well, no, and I never thought of it till just, when
What's
you're,
that?
you know.
It's what it does to the shoreline,
the
Store- the
putting
storage.
storing them up on it.
because they wait to the full moon tide. And they
Yeah.
park them as high as they can, and then they try to get them dried out as much as they can, so
Yeah.
so it's only flood tides where they're actually, you know, doing
Bon-
this and rocking around a little bit and, you know, scarring up
Right,
and the shoreline's pretty damn resilient. I mean, if you look at the Narrows where they store all of them in the wintertime, you walk out on that point on the west side. The,
I was gonna say, it
Grass-
depends on what side of the island you are.
yeah, no, it's on the west side. They don't store anything on the other side, but it's on the west side. And if you walk out there now, the docks are all gone. The grass has already grown back. And so it's like, it's pretty
Resilient.
resilient. But it's something to think about, so. All right, so you got I'll talk to Earl
All right, I'll talk to boatyards.
and I'll try to get in touch with you. I'll just get a general, if I get a copy I'll make a copy before we leave of the Camden, current Camden ordinances.
I strongly suggest we get in here prior to the meeting and go over the stuff that we've gathered.
Chris, you want to do a little earlier for?
No, I'm just saying, don't just come in here on 4 o'clock or 4:30, look at the paperwork, don't wanna go over what's going on in Camden or whatever, and we
We should have an agenda.
hit it sort of prepared, you know, Because if we're gonna limit it to a half an hour, we can't be spending all of it catching up on what's what.
Does somebody want to take a cut at just a rough draft of a survey, just to kind of?
Well, I can try, see if we could possibly do 10, but I guess then we can all react to it.
What's the purpose?
You
Right?
don't have to have 10 questions, but
No, you can have. more.
Maybe 50 by the time.
Yeah.
no, I hope
I
not.
wouldn't, I wouldn't do that, because no one will answer it.
Dartboard.
You could do that. You could do that,
Okay,
but let's make sure that we try to get that, why is the reason, what's the potential reason for it, let's wrestle that,
yeah,
okay. The marching orders.